Hello everyone, and welcome to So Many Games at a Time. My name is Joachim, and I am smiling because it's been a long time since we've continued these, since I have continued the series, up to the point where people are actually asking me when you're going to release the next one. So yeah, welcome back to my top 50 best Kickstarters that I've received. Are they still up to date? Not really, but we're going to finish off this list anyway. Well, not really finish off. We're going to do 5 to 3 because originally I had planned to have the games in front of me and I could show them to you and so on, and a lot of details and so on. But 5, 4, and 3 are all in storage. So so many games, so little time. So to save on time, I'm just going to use basically the internet, right? And use it this way. And the other one, I'm still going to use that too, some of the pages to refer to, but now I just won't have any physical stuff to show you. But like I said, 2 and 1 I do have here, but behind me, but you can't see because it's a green screen. So, all right, let's just dive right in and do number 5. And number 5 is Dice Throne and everything around it. Well, not Marvel Dice Throne, because they didn't deliver in Hong Kong. And that annoyed me so much that I didn't back it. But apparently it has to do with IP issues and so on. It's weird that they can do it in China and everything and around Hong Kong, but in Hong Kong itself not, because apparently a different company has production rights. But whatever, we're not going into that. Maybe I'll pick it up down the line. I don't see why not. But I've always said I'll get it if they have a Dice Throne Adventures based on the Marvel IP. But then Rockstar Games has said that, or sorry, not Rockstar, Roxley Games, it's not GTA. Roxy Games has said that they are not planning on doing that. This just was kind of like a one-off for Marvel, and that's it. You could almost call it a cash grab. Anyway, so back to the matter at hand. So Dice Throne and everything around it. I'll start with Dice Throne Adventures. That doesn't make sense though. We'll start with Dice Throne Season 1 Rerolled, because I backed the Kickstarter that had everything. Season 1 rerolled, Season 2 rerolled, all together in one big battle chest, which we'll see later. So basically, for the people who don't know what Dice Throne is, it is a player versus player dice chucking game where you will be a character. For example, you see them all here in the box. This is Season 1. So the Treant, Ninja, Paladin, Monk, Shadow Thief, Pyromancer, Moon Elf, and Barbarian. So for example, you would be the Monk, and then somebody else is Shadow Thief, and then you battle it out. And it would look a little something like this. I'm sure I'll find a picture real quick. For example, this is the Treant, and then you can see you have the main board with the skills and this. So basically, Dice Throne is Yahtzee. If you ever play Yahtzee, you know how to play Dice Throne, kind of. Same with dice poker, I guess. So you roll the dice. You have your 5 dice. You roll them 3 times, and after every roll, you can put some dice on the side if you want to. Reroll the others, or as many as you want. And then when you finally have the result, you will do whatever action it says. So you can see here, there's a bunch of actions you can do, with at the bottom, the ultimate action, right? And then left is just the information sheet, what everything does. The Treant is pretty complicated. That's why there's a lot of stuff here. But in general, every character has its own level, I'd say. They say how complicated they are. So you can always start with an easy one and then level up, so to speak. For example, this is a Moon Elf, to give you another example. So the skills are all quite different. It does feel very different when you're playing with them. Of course, it looks amazingly beautiful. You can get up to playing quite quickly. I think the only thing that's a little bit difficult to understand at first is the damage, because they have different levels of damage. When can you block? When can't you block? Because that's that little green card here, well, card space at the bottom right. And whenever you get attacked, you can also roll the green dice in most cases, and then maybe even send some damage back or whatever. And what's cool is you have a bunch of cards you can use, because every round you get CP, and then you can spend it to play cards. But then you can also buy cards that are upgrades For example, here you have blinding shots, which is basically a big straight, grand straight. But then you might have an upgrade that makes it even more powerful. Or sometimes it might even take one skill and create two skills. So it's very interesting and fun to do as well. There's a lot of upgrades that you can apply. But I don't see anyone using the upgrades here. Here's a ninja. And once again, they always have different skills as well. So the same, I think that's enough for season 1. The same goes for season 2. And also it says here the battle chest. Then season 1 rerolled also introduced the battle chest. So now they both have a battle chest. And here you see, I think, all of the heroes. Yeah, the gunslinger, the samurai, the tactician, the huntress, the cursed pirate, the artificer, the seraph, and the vampire lord. So it basically introduces a bunch of new heroes that you can, of course, also use to fight the season 1 heroes or amongst yourself. So this is what it would look like when you are fighting, right? Going back and forth. Although this one doesn't look like the final version at all. This one does. This one does not. So maybe this is the first edition, not the rerolled edition. So yeah, nothing more to say about the base game, right? So here you even have maybe a 4-way, or let's say just do a tournament. So that's also cool. But why it brings it to another level? Because in the end, this is just one-on-one, right? You play, you win after a while, and that's it. But okay, this is for later. This is what makes it shine. Now you can take some of those characters that you've been using one-on-one and then throw them in a campaign. For example, you see a picture here, people playing campaign. Here's the monk and the seraph, and together you're going to go and play the campaign, which consists of different types of scenarios. First scenario is a portal run, this is the case. So you can see the die here. You're trying to get the different sides of the die. You can see one. Well, I'll enlarge it, make it a little bit easier. There's one piece here, one piece there. You collect them, and then the die, it looks a bit like cheese, but then the die is flipped over, you finish the scenario, but then you go to the boss fight. And the boss fight are often the main characters, but then made evil or whatever. And then at the end, you'll fight the Mad King, if I'm not mistaken. But what is also very, very cool, I feel, I think I should be able to find here, is the loot table. A lot of people painting their minis, which I still have to do. Shame on me. But there's a loot table this is really good preparation. And I hope there's a picture of it somewhere. But basically, when you get loot, the card will say whether it's common or legendary or whatever. But then you don't know what it is yet. The loot that you find, here it is. You'll put under your board. And later on, you go to the shop, which is here at the top. You have to pay gold to identify it, or just throw it away if you don't want to. You can also buy cards. You can see common, rare, and then elite, legendary, whatever. That costs a lot more as well. Or you can also sell cards for 5 coins. But here is a table that I'm so fond of. When you get loot, you roll this loot die, and it'll depending on the number, you'll get this. So, for example, if it's common loot, if you roll a natural 20, then you get a rare card, 19, 18 common, the rest is gold, healing, draw a card, get more CP, or get damage tokens that you can use in a fight. Of course, you could argue it could be very annoying if you always roll very low. I know, but I like this kind of stuff. I can't help it. So you don't see the rest here, but basically it's depending on the color of the chest, you can get higher and better equipment and cards and so on. So I think that's pretty cool. It reminds me of the typical RPGs like Diablo. You pick some stuff up and you have no idea what it is until you go back and identify it. So yeah, it's also very, very beautiful. Let's see if we can find some pictures of the baddies that you fight. Even if you've done the Kickstarter, or maybe you can find the promos, there's some with like gold foil on top of them, which makes it even better looking, of course. If I don't find it, I do have another picture somewhere else, so don't worry. I'm just checking if these people have it here somewhere. The Mad King. Here are the tiles. Not really. Did I really not have any pictures of the enemies? No. Dials, yes, but that's it. Okay, in that case, let's go to Instagram, where I'm sure I can show you something. All right, so this is one of the games I played. If you look at the date, it's 83 weeks ago. So super long ago, where I did a one-on-one, Paladin versus Ninja. Yeah, and here you can see the upgrade. The defense was upgraded, so you put the card on top of it, right? Very straightforward. And then the power becomes a lot better. You can see the dice, really nice quality, really cool, marbled. The ultimate, of course, if you roll a Yahtzee, then it does a lot more stuff. Also unblockable, so it's even better. Yeah, so that's one example of Instagram. This is another one. 78 weeks ago, we survived the first portal. And here we played a three-way game, the Artificer, the Pyromancer, and the Samurai. So you can see every time you go on a tile, you're going to have to fight someone. You can see the level here of the villains. But there's also always something going on the tile itself. Sometimes positive, sometimes negative. You can join each other and fight the minions together. You can go solo, but often that's not really recommended, to be honest, because it can really ruin your day. This is one of the foil ones. You can see the Chimera, and it reads a little bit like a normal opponent, but in this case, it's a level 3, so it's pretty strong with health 20. So, but it has rules on how they fight and so on, and it's pretty interesting, I have to say. Yeah, so here's the Samurai. Some of the cards here, for example, 6-it means you pay it, and you can change one die to a 6, which of course is always awesome. What else here? Very common picture, me checking the rule book. This is not a stain, it is part of the t-shirt that I no longer have because this is a squid. Yeah, and this is a start actually of the campaign. You can see we have 0 cheese pieces here, but there is a solve. Solve basically lets you heal. Yeah, once again, trying to figure out what we're doing. Yeah, so that was another Instagram post. Then how many videos do I have on YouTube? Only 3. I have the double unboxing, especially the first one came with a big surprises. The second one had no surprises, but the first one, the legendary unboxing, was quite surprising. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you could go and check, because back then it was still the early days of the channel. You can see December 15, 2020. Yeah, I was quite surprised. And then the last one here, this is the Vampire Lord solo adventures playthrough. So basically I do a portal run. I don't think I fight the boss, but yeah. So I have to say, video wasn't that popular, so I kind of stopped it, but it is still saved. I can always continue it. All right, so I think that's it for number 5, which is of course Dice Throne. Awesome game. I absolutely love it. I wish I had more time to play it, but that goes for every game on this list and every game I own. And I definitely want to run through the campaign, maybe in the summer or whatever, but thanks to COVID, I haven't had a summer in a long time, or at least a decent summer. So yeah, but yeah, that game is never leaving my collection, for sure. And if they ever bring out a Marvel one, adventures, then I'll definitely be interested in that. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, you can use the Marvel heroes in Dice Throne Adventures, but it's just weird to use, I think anyway, to use Black Panther and Captain Marvel to go fight the Mad King. Yeah, for me that doesn't work out. That wasn't appealing. All right, let's go to number 4, and number 4 is Twisted Fables. Twisted Fables. Yeah, you can see the picture here. An awesome, awesome, awesome game. You can recognize some of the fables here. We have Alice in Wonderland. We have Mulan. We have Snow White. I think Mulan is this one actually. This is a Japanese one that I don't really remember. This is the one who dreams. I forgot it. It'll come back to me later. So yeah. Okay, this is Red Riding Hood. Okay, and then I really can't. Yeah, okay, I can't find it now. So anyway, Twisted Fables. Very quickly, an explanation. It's a one-on-one fighting game again. Not that I'm normally so fond of that, but I mean you can play it solo as well. It's a bit weird to play it solo because, well, no. Okay, let me explain the game first. So it's a one-on-one fighting game. And they're all fables, but they're twisted. So I suggest when you play the game, always read the backstory. It'll make you go like, what? And maybe also explain some of their powers. So of course you're trying to reduce the other person to 0 health, right? That is always the point. And you'll be moving forward and backward on a line. I'm looking for a picture to, there you go, that's good enough. So here you go, you go forward and backward on a line. Some of them like to actually go through each other. Some of them want to be as far away as possible. Some want to be close up as possible. Some might want to lure you on top of certain positions to do extra damage. So that's the basics of how that works. But then you have these red cards here. There's also blue ones and yellow ones. I think yellow ones are the weak ones, blue are the medium, and red are the more expensive one. You have attack, movement, and defense. And on your turn, you'll draw a certain amount. I think it's 5 cards. I'm not sure. Could be wrong. It's been a while. And then you're going to be playing them. But that's the cool part. There's actually no secrecy. Not really. Most of them don't have secrecy. Some of them you might want to keep in your hand because you can use them on somebody else's turn. But the most basic characters, or the majority actually, it doesn't matter if someone sees your cards or not, because normally you'll discard them anyway at the end of your turn. Yeah, you'll discard them anyway at the end of the turn, but then you'll also redraw before the other person starts their turn. So that's how you can play on their turn. The cool part is, if you use actions like you attack or you defend, you also get power, which is the bottom row here. The top is health. I'll tell you more about that later. But you'll get power, and then you can use that power to buy cards. Like you see your 3 decks here. So if you keep buying cards, you get to more powerful cards, and also specific cards that will give you lasting effects, which are really good. So you look at the cards here at the bottom. These are actually activated when your health goes past the halfway point. Then you get these powerful cards that you put, as you can see here, epic cards that you can put in your deck. Like, these don't read really epic, to be honest, but some are like really game changing. And yeah, they can be really, really awesome just by, losing health. Suddenly you're back in the game. So the other cards that I said, you unlock them by buying cards from your deck. They are here at the bottom. Here we go. These ones. And they basically also give you permanent powers from then on. And sometimes it can also be very, very powerful. Like, this is Mulan, as you can see. This is the Dex, so they bought a lot of stuff already because it's level 3. They bought all the level 1s and 2s. So yeah, and here, these cards, they replace the bottom parts of the normal track that you're on with all these little cards that give you actions. And if you ever play the game, I suggest to play with it from the start, because otherwise you can actually have empty turns. Because the way these cards work, like I said, yellow, blue, and red, sometimes you might be far away and then all you do is draw attack cards, but you're too far to attack, and then you have like an empty turn. But if you're on top of these cards, you can at least still do something. Sleeping Beauty. That's it. Sleeping Beauty. I couldn't read it here. I can see it now, but just now I've suddenly realized Sleeping Beauty. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's the game in a nutshell. Awesome game. Awesome game. I haven't painted the miniatures. Yes, it's a recurring thing. There's not many of them, but I haven't painted them. I will, like this person has painted them, and then they look, of course, even more awesome to play with. Because if you haven't painted them, I would suggest to play with the standees. Otherwise, they're all kind of gray, dark gray, and not really worth it. But yeah, the art on the cards is really beautiful. For example, let's take a look at Sleeping Beauty. She's pretty crazy, as you can see. Yeah, there's also some that are a bit more controversial. I'm looking at you, Little Mermaid. But Snow White here, you can see also pretty crazy, the 7 serpents. So you can see their background, their bio, basically, what happened to them. Definitely interesting to read. These are some of the cards that are at the bottom, so you can use the actions of those cards. Some more of them. Yeah, the box cover, you've already seen that. So, well, the Chinese edition, we hadn't seen that, but you know what I mean. Kaguya Alice. Alice is very interesting because she can get a ton of cards. Oh my goodness. I lost one game against Miss G, and she had so many cards. It was freaking crazy. All right, so you can see it here. All right. Now, why do I like the game? Well, I think I've already said it, right? It's just the whole theme is awesome. Oh, look, it still has one of my videos here. Cool. Anyway, The whole theme is awesome. It's beautiful. The background is amazing. You can even play 2 versus 2 and then have 2 tracks and change tracks as you're fighting each other. Also really cool. Yeah, just the reason why. It plays different every time because you have 3 different decks. One deck focuses on attack, one on defense, one on power, I guess. No, probably not power. Movement, yeah, movement. So you can also kind of flip your strategies a little bit. Some are really good against others, some are weaker. So yeah. Anyway, let's see what I had about it on Instagram. This one, only this one. Just saying, an awesome game, but the Little Mermaid art is quite special. Yeah, you can see here, actually, yeah. So, okay. There's videos as well. And on YouTube, I have all of these. Yeah, all of these. Like some of them were a little bit more popular than others, but the unboxing had a lot of views. Not that it matters, but there's one unboxing, how to play, and then 3 playthroughs, and then one of them even has the playmats, because the playmats are also really awesome, amazing art. So if you want to see Sleeping Beauty against Little Mermaid, if you want to see Dorothy versus Match Girl, if you want to see Snow White versus Red Riding Hood, give it a check. But yeah, really awesome game. I would play it anytime. Basically, what I want to do is I have so many 2-player games now. I kind of want to create a day where I only play 2-player games, like this one, and they have Radlands, and there's a bunch of other ones that would just be like bang, bang, bang. That would be awesome. Or have like a little tournament, you know, everyone has to choose one and then see who comes out on top. That'd be cool. But yeah, COVID. Anyway, let's move on. This was actually quite short, right? Let's move on to number 3, number 3, and that has a lot more stuff to talk about, I think. That is Western Legends. Only gets a 7.6. I think it deserves more, but then maybe that's also because I play my games far apart instead of constantly, you know. So if you play a game constantly, it also loses some of its shine, I believe. Anyway, Western Legends basically is a sandbox game in the West. That's it. You choose a character, can be a bunch of people. I think, no, this is not a good example. These are just poker cards. You choose a person, for example, Buffalo Bill, or who is this person here, because this is definitely a person. Stagecoach, Mary Fields, Calamity Jane, Annie Oakley, Bellstar, Pearl Hearts, which are, I guess, the ladies. Yes, exactly. But you have, of course, men as well. Wyatt Earp here. You have Kit Carson. And then, this is the one I was talking about? No? Wild Bill Hickok, actually. Probably not both, Buffalo Bill, whatever. But you choose one of those guys, right? And then you just start the game, of course, after reading the rules. Otherwise, like, what are you going to do? Anyway, so you start the game, and you can see the game looks absolutely amazing. This is actually the base game, of course, because we'll be talking about the other stuff later. So this is the base game. You go around. You have so many things that you can do. You have a train that's going around. You can rob the train. You have the mines. You can go mine for gold and then sell it. You have farms where you can get cattle. You can see the green here and the blue, and then bring them back to the city for money. You can rob other people and become an outlaw. Then other people can decide to become a marshal and hunt you down. You can play poker for money. You can do that too. You can go and fight bandits as well. So yeah, and there's also stories on the left here that happen that might steer you in a certain direction if you want to have legendary points. Because if you have the most legendary points at the end of the game, you win. And there's a different way. There's a lot of different stuff to get, different ways to get legendary points, even by being wanted or by being a marshal. And there are some strategies that people say that, you know, break the game, like the mining. But actually, if you go and mine and go back and mine and back and mine, and basically mine and sell, mine and sell, mine and sell, and nobody stops you, you're probably going to win the game. But then people are supposed to stop you, you know. Is the West, you know. If you see someone winning, you stop them. If you're just going to be like, oh, we'll just all do our own thing, then stuff like that might happen. Just an FYI. I'm not saying you have to come out guns blazing, not like that. But if you notice someone has an engine going, you stop that engine, right? So there's a bunch of stuff here. Actually, I'm not going to talk too much about these pictures. I've already spoke a little bit about all that. I'm just going to say the stuff that I said now is in the game, including poker and so on. But then we have the expansion of Blood Money, who basically adds a bunch of extra stuff to the whole thing, including a new way of poker, as you can see here on the side. So that was also very welcome. Also more of the same. And I'm kind of forgetting what else did Blood Money add. A bunch of extra actions apparently. Okay, cool. More trading stuff. More characters. Then we also have Ante-Up. Ante-Up adds another version of the poker. I think in the end you have 3 versions, if I'm not mistaken. Is this the one that also adds the extra map? Yeah, an extra map as well, where you can go and explore, so on. So exploring actually becomes a thing in this expansion. Well, again, a lot more characters that you can play with. There's even another guy, I think, who just a stranger that can come up and help you. The Man in Black cards that you have here. More poker cards to make it more interesting. Then we have the Good, the Bad, and the Handsome, which adds all these little packs that adds even more stuff. 3 new legends, legendary items. Then you also have the Fistful of Extras, once again, more of the same. And a bunch of extra stuff like Wild Bunch of Extras, literally called that way. Of course, when you have so many different expansions, you're also going to need some corrections sometimes, so they have this correction pack as well. So yeah, just remember that if you decide to get it. There's another promo pack, whatever, more carbine. It's just a gun, you know, adding more stuff to it. So yeah, anyway, on Instagram I have this How I Upgraded Western Legends. Because I did upgrade a ton of stuff. Like this is the mat, right? The play mat is pretty big, but I think it's worth it. So you can see the connection between the 2 maps are there. You have for the poker, certain types of poker anyway. Yeah, so here it is with all the different stuff that I've done. The video, of course, is on YouTube and has a lot more details, right? Okay, then another one on Instagram was when I had 1,000 followers, which is a long time ago now, I think. Not that I have any more. June 17, 2020, because at one point I kind of stopped Instagram because I got tired of it and moved to YouTube. So anyway, this was one of my giveaways for 1,000 followers, and yeah, that's it. What else did I do on Instagram? Here's one of the playthroughs. You can see it's pretty full, the board, right? This is a little video inside of a video. Whoa, right? So you can see it's pretty cool to have everything there and everything painted. It was a lot of fun, and it just adds a lot to the game. So I suggest you do that too if you feel like it or whatever. It makes it a lot more enjoyable. This is a picture in general. You can see here, anyone could have won tonight. The frontier got explored. Both types of poker were played. There were duels, arrests, people got robbed, Keller got wrangled, the whole shebang. So as you can see, one strategy wasn't allowed to win. Okay, I tried to rob the train 3 times but failed once, and the bank 2 times, both successful. So you can even rob the bank. I forgot about that. I was wanted regularly. I managed to narrowly win with fame, but I didn't win, sadly. So it says here, every game I worry about the mining strategy, but this didn't happen tonight at all. So because I followed the store suggestion on BGG, so you know, you can check out the files there because they might influence the game as well. Because every time when you play, you can choose which cards are in the store. So yeah. So once again, that picture, a little bit of a close-up at a bandit camp. All right, and the train is just awesome. Train I didn't paint; it just came like that. Okay, so I think that's enough for this one. I think I have one more. So this is the one that I painted more in detail, and yeah, it's fun to then play with these guys, you know. All right, and then we have the last one, which is another playthrough, but then everything was unpainted and I had no buildings there whatsoever. Still a lot of fun. Okay, you don't need to have painted it to have fun. It just adds more, I feel. But yeah, you see, people really like it in general as well. Okay, so that's it. That was 5-3. No, not yet. Sorry. We still have the channel. On the channel, I have 2 How I Upgraded Western Legends, which I already said, and the unboxing on Blood Money. Now, there is one thing that I really like about Blood Money, because it came with a rulebook that has collected all of the rule books together of all the expansions that I talked about, and it came in a hardcover. It really feels like a book that you're using to do the. I think it was really impressed, to be honest. Really, really cool. And yeah, it's still surprised it's been that long already. But now I'm waiting for the big box because there was a Kickstarter that has a. Let's see, Western Legends. I'm sure there's a KS, whatever, big box here. I'm waiting for the big box to come so I can finally add all the stuff together. It still I just did just the box, yeah, because I have everything else already. And you can see it. I think it'll be awesome to finally put it together, because now I have 2 boxes, the Blood Money and Western Legends, and finally being able to put it together would be very, very nice. All right, so that is it. Late pledge you can still do. So if it's interesting to you, why not? All right, so this is the 5 to 3. Finally, I was able to complete this. Like I said, number 2 and number 1 are behind me, and hopefully I'll be able to do it soon. In a perfect world, I would do a lot more to number 2 before I make the video, but I won't put you through it. Otherwise, it's going to be a couple of years, maybe. So yeah, I'm going to stop here. My name is Joachim, and always will be. This is So Many Games All the Time. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.